The third and final chapter of Dragon Garo Lee's The Case of Being Reincarnated as Yamcha, the infamous Yamcha manga that he started late last year, has finally come out. And what I want to do is talk about this final chapter with all of you. And if you haven't seen my previous two videos covering Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I will leave a link to those down below as well as at the end of this video. But I do suggest watching those videos first before proceeding with this video so that you know what's gone on in the Yamcha manga so far and my thoughts on it. Now, with Part 3, there has indeed been a time skip. Almost 10 years have passed, and now we are at the Cell Games with Yamcha stronger than ever before and alive and well, of course, with the boy inside of his body. It's not the real Yamcha, it's the possessed Yamcha, or whatever you want to call it. Dragon Garo Lee makes no mention of what happened before this, so we don't know if Yamcha wound up, defeating the androids. We presume not, because Cell went perfect anyways, but still, it's kind of weird that we're picking it up right here. Now things get very interesting, because all of a sudden, Chiaotzu shows up, and he's got a score to settle with Yamcha. So in a strangely ironic twist, we find out that Yamcha's not the only person that's been reincarnated from somebody else in the other world, in the real world. Chiaotzu, the other most worthless Z fighter of them all, in fact, he's probably worse than Yamcha when you think about it, is also not who he seems to be, and not the original Chiaotzu from the manga. And apparently Yamcha suspected this for quite some time, because the original Chiaotzu was unable to solve math problems in the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, and he also was not killed by Demon King Piccolo, because, of course, he knew what was going to happen. There was a really funny scene where he says that he tried to live his life as Chiaotzu, but he doesn't even remember how many times he's died. But now, Chiaotzu wants to use his Dragon Ball knowledge and psychic powers to rule the world. So he's going to use that tool of knowing the future for a bad purpose. And then we get the most epic battle ever between the two weakest jabronis in the Z Fighters, Yamcha and Chiaotzu. And I often wonder why people make so many jokes about Krillin, when Krillin's actually pretty strong compared to these two. But these guys go at it, and even if you think they're jabroni characters, it doesn't matter, because Dragon Garo Lee makes this fight awesome. And there's one part where Chiaotzu almost kills Yamcha, but we find out that he climbed Karin Tower before Yajirobe and has his own stash of Senzu beans, which, that's a pretty smart idea. Why didn't they do that in the series and just get more and more Senzu beans? But Chiaotzu uses his telekinesis to take the bag away. So what does Yamcha do to defeat another hardcore Dragon Ball fan who happens to possess another not-so-strong character in the series? Well, he questions his Dragon Ball knowledge by asking him a very, very hardcore question to screw with his head. Yamcha asks, what is Yamcha's birthday? This distracts Chiaotzu enough so that Yamcha can nail him with a double axe handle shot. And then, in one of the biggest shockers in this whole thing, Yamcha pulls out a little jar, and guess what, folks? Trunks ain't the only one who can miraculously learn the Mafuba. So he does the Mafuba, the demon or evil containment wave, on the evil Chiaotzu. But just before he's able to trap him, we find out that Chiaotzu was, in the real world, somebody named Usho, who was the first place player in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Yes, the card game, DBZ Dokkan Battle, is the whole reason for all of this. So these two guys bond over Dokkan Battle, and things get emotional, and Chiaotzu sees the light, that he shouldn't have gotten selfish and tried to take over the world with his Dragon Ball knowledge. I think he should have just started a GodTube channel, because when you have that much knowledge, put it out there, right? So, like the real Yamcha, this version of Yamcha decides not to get involved in any more battles and just live his life in peace. But then Chiaotzu reminds him that he's going to get killed by Majin Buu in a little over 7 years, and that's never a good thing. But then the real secret twist comes out, because we find out that the people who have been manipulating all these events to happen, all of this, reincarnation business, is Gods of Destruction, Beerus, and Champa, who are playing the reincarnation game, which ended in a tie. So Whis and Vados return from their vacation, and they send the humans back into their human bodies, and our story comes to an end with our Dragon Ball fans safe and sound in the real world as regular humans, but it appears like some of the power may have been inherited, and that is the end of the story. To be honest, I kind of was a little bit let down by this. I thought the first 2 chapters were much more stronger. The idea of having Chiaotzu as the villain was pretty clever, and the idea of Dragon Garo Lee using these 2 characters to tell a fun little story, but I still felt like this chapter was the weakest of the 3. But I do look forward to more Dragon Garo Lee manga because he's a fantastic Dragon Ball artist and he has a real good grasp of Toriyama's humor. So I hope he comes back and does many more of these in the future. Thanks for checking out the video. Let me know your thoughts down below on Chapter 3 of the Yamcha manga. Do you want more stuff like this? Would you prefer something a little bit more serious? Let me know. Thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I want to give a very special thanks to Sailor Spaz for translating this. Have a great day.